At the start of the week, a true legend of the game against a true outsider. O'Sullivan versus Brown in the commentary box. Darren Morgan and Ken Doherty.
Yes, thank you, Ian, and good afternoon, everybody, for the final here of the Welsh Open at the beautiful Celtic Manor. And what a wonderful day for the young Antrim Ferrari, as it's been commonly known now, Jordan Brown, taking on, well, probably the greatest player of all time, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Not what we would have predicted for a final, but Jordan Brown has earned his place by beating some really good players. Stephen Maguire, who he beat in the semi-final 6-1, and of course Mark Selby. Darren, don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm sure you're looking forward to it as much as I am.
Thank you. The first frame.
And I was talking to Jordan just before he's come out for this match, and he's very relaxed, and he's looking forward to the challenge, and he firmly believes that, you know, this is his time. He's not frightened of Ronnie O'Sullivan. He said, you know, he's probably the best player that's ever picked the cue up, but I'm only worried about myself, and if I play like I've been playing and play like I've been playing in practice with Mark Allen, he said, I know it's all about me, I got every chance.
Yeah, I think that's a really good attitude to have, and he's confident, you know, and of course those victories in the semi-final and quarter-final would have given him great confidence. Ronnie O'Sullivan looked imperious against Mark Williams last night. I think we always talk about fast starts, don't we? You know, in matchups, but particularly here, I mean, I think it's quite important for Jordan Brown to really settle down in this match very, very early.
It is. We like I said, we were having a chat, and we talked about various things. And one of the things, the first thing I said to him, I said, my first ever ranking final was the Welsh Open. It was a long time ago. I said it was in '92. And he said, yeah, I'm up with the history, I remember that. And he said, you played Stephen Hendry? I said, yes.
One.
But I said, that was my first one, and I probably didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. I was that desperate to want to win. Yeah. I said, just go out and really enjoy yourself. And it's quite funny, Ken. That was '92. So this is his first ranking event final, the same as it was for me. And Ronnie O'Sullivan turned professional in 1992. It just shows how long his longitude has been in the game.
Yeah, it's incredible. Well, this, I was just going to say, this pin could give him a bit of confidence if this goes in. That was a nice pot into the right centre.
7.
Cued it nicely. I think the opening exchanges in this first frame are going to be quite a lot of butterflies for Jordan
8.
Brown for sure, but if you could somehow get a little break together, just settle his nerves and really enjoy this challenge of playing Ronnie O'Sullivan in a final. I mean, this is what he would have dreamed of for sure. Awkward little cut back on that black hand, just lost the cue ball slightly, still on the red, but would have loved to have got a much better contact on that red
15.
just above the black. Needed a full ball contact. Just lost the cue ball. He's a tall lad, Jordan Brown. He may be able to reach this. I think I might need a step ladder for this particular shot, Darren. I don't know about you, but he's quite tall. He might be able to reach it.
I'm not 100% sure, Ken, whether you'd get there with a step ladder. You might need the full length ones. It's a tricky one, and due
16.
to the stretching, a little bit short with the cue ball. I mean, yesterday we all know he started off with a terrific 135 against Stephen Maguire, so he got right out of the blocks, but he's looking at lining up a safety.
Blue ball. Jordan Brown, 16.
Quite interesting comments in the little interviews before this final. Jordan Brown reiterating what Ronnie O'Sullivan said during the World Championship, the players outside the top 50 can't really play the game. So maybe that will be his sort of little inspiration. if he needed anybody, needed anything. I doubt if he did, but something that would have irked Jordan Brown, who was outside the top 50 at the time. I'm sure it was off the cuff, Ronnie didn't really mean it. Sometimes he says things and, you know, with a little sort of a glint in his eye at times, Darren, but it would have irked a lot of players on the tour for sure.
Oh, we will have got a lot of players' backs up. That you're right, absolutely 100%. But I think Ronnie does say a lot of things tongue in cheek, doesn't he? Just to get a reaction and see what sort of fallout's gonna, you know, come after his comments.
I don't know whether you saw the match last night against Mark Williams, but I thought he was, you know, somewhat back to some of the best snooker that we saw, of course, at the World Championship, and how well he played there. But he was so good in all facets of the game last night against Mark Williams. Been secretly practicing with Martin Gould, Ronnie O'Sullivan, in the build-up to this Welsh Open. So he's been putting in a lot of time, and you can tell. Very focused. Said he made some little technical changes to his grip as this cue ball goes very close to the corner pocket.
John Brown 4.
Could make a little difference. Yeah, made some little tactical changes to the grip on his right hand when holding the cue. And he seems to be getting more enjoyment. Now, this is a tester here for Jordan Brown. Long pot. A little bit away, and he's left Ronnie his first opportunity. Black tied up, pink on the green spot. He'd love to get the pink back on its own spot because of the black. It was out of commission for the time being. His first instinct will be pot this red and try and get there you look at his grip. I don't know what sort of changes he's made. He'd be probably
1.
keeping that a little secret to himself, but made some technical changes, and it seems to have helped his game somewhat. Now straight away getting the pink back on its spot. Well, it won't go on its own spot, but it'll go on the just see his grip on the back. The loose little finger at the butt of the cue. And it goes on the highest available, of course, which is the black.
7.
Just gone slightly awry, that positional shot. It's not perfect.
Eight.
He's knocked it in like he was right over the hole. Played down with a lot of right hand side to check the cue ball off the cushion. And playing that little cannon now. Well, he's been a little bit unfortunately there because he's moved the one red off the pink spot.
14.
He's got a real good split on these. He's just been a little bit unlucky. So it's going to be a safety. Big area now behind the yellow, green, brown and blue. Be really surprised if he doesn't get the cue ball behind one of these.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 14.
Well, not quite the snooker, but Jordan's left with a difficult shot.
Yeah, that's one area, isn't it, Ronnie's game that doesn't get an awful lot of credit for, or people forget about maybe. Well, he's so good, he's so clever in his safety play. Had Jordan in a little bit of trouble, and he's, unfortunately for Jordan, he's left the red, but he's brought the black out into play as well.
I just hope, Ken, that Jordan managed to settle down right at the start of this match, so he doesn't allow Ronnie to sort of pull away from him. I feel if he does allow that, probably there's only going to be one result. But as long as he can stay level with him, just make him think about things and not let him get into a full stride and full queuing.
Yeah, totally agree. Ronnie is probably the best front runner of all the players on the circuit that we've ever had. He's done it so many times. Once he gets on a bit of a roll, he's very, very hard to stop. Excellent positional shot from red to blue, and then from blue back down for these two reds just above the pink. His mind will be turning his attention to a red and maybe trying to get that black back on its spot as soon as possible. That's what will be going through his mind. Let's see how he tackles this situation. Pink, as you see, is still tied up, so he's got to concentrate on the blue for the time being. Oh, well, you had the perfect
13.
view of that. Just have a look at this kick here. Watch the cue ball. As soon as it hits the red, up off the table, taking all the pace out of it. And now all of a sudden, he's got a very difficult blue. This is not easy at all.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 13.
For Jordan Brown. I'm sure he'd have been feeling the worst. That blue was never easy with a cue ball so close to the blue. Ronnie struck it very confidently. So he's a good pot here now with Jordan. Had to make sure he misses the reds with the cue ball. And that was a nervy one. A little bit stretching on there on that red. This won't be the start that Jordan Brown would have been looking for. Obviously, it's a massive occasion for him. His first ranking event final. Playing against what you'd have to regard as probably the best player ever to play the game in Ronnie O'Sullivan. But just got to enjoy it, Jordan Brown. Whatever happens now, it's a bonus. Obviously, he's going to really want to win this event. As long as he can look back and say, I gave it everything I had. Well.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1-5. Jordan Brown.
Yeah, didn't expect that. Trying to hit the cushion just before the left centre pocket. So both players had a couple of chances now. It's not too bad, this cue ball. He's had a fortuitous little kiss off the second red on the top cushion. He was quite a long way away from that pot, but he'd be happy with the result for sure.
Foul.
And Ronnie
Jordan Brown, 4.
just made a couple of mistakes. He's left Jordan Brown a nice easy opener as we see this cue ball into the corner pocket. Now he's got a nice easy opener. He can play for pink or black here. Just try and keep this cue ball on the left hand side of the table. If he hits it softly, he'll be on the pink. If it runs on a little bit, he'll be on the black into the left centre.
1.
He's on both. And if he comes around and has a look at the black, he hasn't done so on this occasion. I'd like to come around and have a look at the black, the angle of the black, because he's going to need the black on its spot to win the frame. I don't think he can win it just taking pinks. Well, he could do, but it'd be a little bit more difficult.
7.
He's going to concentrate on the pink. It may be a mistake. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be difficult to take all 4 reds and pinks. And there you see, that's the first mistake. He was trying to develop a red off the top cushion.
14.
But see, if he had the black back on its spot, he wouldn't have had to try any of those type of shots, and it would have made the break so much easier for himself. I think sometimes, obviously, he's a little bit nervous, and it's understandable.
14.
And what that does, it sort of clouds your mind, doesn't it, Darren? Like, you know, here's the pink into the, trying to just develop that red below the black spot.
Yes, I'm with you. I think he missed the trick when he said have a little look at the black. I mean, it's a more difficult shot than the pink, the black, but if he'd made the pot, he'd have made things easier later in his break and his effort. But obviously both players had a couple of chances this first frame, and for different reasons. It's going to be a little bit tricky for both players. I mean, Ronnie O'Sullivan, you know, you would not have expected to have been playing Jordan Brown in the final. So it's a different mindset that he will have now, you know, be under a little bit more pressure, because he'll be thinking everybody's expecting that I'm going to win. And he'll be expecting that himself. But as Jordan Brown's already shown this week how capable he is, and he's not frightened of beating big names. And he stroked that in lovely. That'll make him feel better. That's probably the best shot of this opening frame he's played so far.
Yeah, and I think he's particularly very, very good at that shot. Playing those with an element of safety, going back up for ball, but look where his cue ball finished, how confident he was of potting that red. Once again, an excellent chance. Already 18-point lead. So he's going to need
3.
all remaining 3 reds. Get himself into a winning position and leaving Ronnie O'Sullivan needing snookers. It's not
4.
easy. Just didn't get the bite on the cue ball there. Need a lot of left hand side to impart on the cue ball to try and get it close to this red over the left corner. Ahead, so he's going to need red colour,
10.
high value colour, and that remaining red. This is not easy. He's playing it with a bit of pace. Yeah, well played. Good pot.
11.
Quite tricky. Along the cushion now. He's got to play a really good positional shot. Try and get close to this red just below the black spot. Yellow off 2 cushions. Well, he's gone around off 4, and the only problem about that is sometimes you can get really straight on the red. You can't get close enough to it.
13.
So 28 ahead. There won't be too much to do with the cube or the red here. Just try and drop it in. Yeah, well
14.
played, Jordan Brown. Well played. And this could be a real, you know, big start for Jordan Brown here. He's potted some good balls in this break, Darren.
Yes, he's potted some crackers. I mean, both players
Jordan Brown,
have had
14.
early chances in this frame, and I think Jordan will be relieved that he knocked in that real good long red and settled down a little bit. But for Ronnie, you know, this is not the start that he'd have liked, because he's been in twice perfect and not scored enough, and that's his strongest point really these days of his game. There's a long way to go. Long way to go in this frame. It's only one snooker required. You never really settle as a player until you get a frame on the board. And this will be more important for Jordan Brown than it will be for Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie's got this knack. He can turn around 2, 3, 4 frames in no time with big breaks. But as you said, Ken, great effort so far from Jordan Brown.
It is a snooker, but it's easy enough swear. But he's got to get a bit of distance between yellow and cue ball here. Oh, I'd be happy with this. Maybe no, it's just ran on. I thought yellow was going to be covered by the black. Half a chance here for Jordan Brown. He can have a go at this yellow into the top left-hand corner pocket. Stun the cue ball off the right-hand side cushion if he wishes. It is a big target behind green and brown. If Ronnie can swing the cue ball up into that area, always the possibility. Try to all 4 cushions, just get enough side on the cue ball. But Jordan Brown has to be very aware of the possibility of a snooker, so he doesn't want to leave Ronnie O'Sullivan an easy sort of chance. You see it, he only needs 1 4-point snooker. Love to try and pot this yellow. It's not too bad, it's a good shot.
So was that one. Okay, he had a good kiss off the brown. Bring the cue ball back down near this black. And these balls are in real good positions to lay a snooker. So Jordan Brown's just got to be a little bit careful with where he's leaving the cue ball. Well, that's a great yellow.
2.
What a terrific shot.
That just makes things a little bit more difficult
Jordan
for
Brown
Ronnie
too.
O'Sullivan. And there's another good shot, hiding the green with the brown and indeed the blue. So Ronnie O'Sullivan concedes the frame. He's had enough. He needed 2 4-point snookers. An edgy start, you would say, from both players, but the man from Antrim wins the first frame and he leads the former Welsh Open champion and current world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan by 1 frame to 0.
Yeah, not the start we expected, was it, from Ronnie O'Sullivan, a player of his calibre? But how will Jordan Brown be feeling right now? Very happy, I would imagine.
Definitely, yeah, because Jordan made a few mistakes himself in that opening frame there, because he started so well in his semi-final yesterday. These are some of the mistakes that he made. He missed that long red by quite a long way. Now, this is a safety shot that has to be played well. But unfortunately, Jordan gets a double kiss here, and you can see the cue ball careers into the black. Now, if this black was more potable for Ronnie, this would have been a golden chance. But he didn't make the most of it, Ronnie. Ronnie made a mistake and left that red on for Jordan. And that's the one mistake there. That missed pot by several inches is the one that was always going to make Jordan struggle.
This was magnificent, Don.
Yeah, this was a good red. This was more of a sort of a safety valve for Jordan. It was a shot to nothing. He didn't feel he could leave Ronnie on. So there's less pressure on that, but that was a key ball for Jordan just to settle down. And it has to be said, Ronnie made some mistakes in that frame as well. Ronnie had some good chances, but unfortunately, from his point of view, the colours weren't too easy to get onto, and that's what caused Ronnie's downfall there.
It is edgy, isn't it, from Ronnie? I mean, he's not punishing. That's how Brown was able to win that frame, because he was able to go back to the table to have another bite at it, because Ronnie hasn't taken his chances.
Yeah, it was a very unorthodox frame, though, that, because the pink, although it was on its spot, there were a couple of reds either side of it, prohibiting it from going into either of its corner pockets. The black was near the centre pocket, but tricky to get onto. So it was a bit of an unorthodox frame there, but, you know, when the black's in open play and the pink's in open play, it's going to favour Ronnie O'Sullivan possibly more than anybody.
And if you're Jordan Brown, what's your best mindset when you're sat in the chair watching Ronnie playing? Is it to focus on what I could have done better, what I'll do next time when I get the next opportunity? Or is it to almost switch off a little bit and to try to savour the moment? I'm playing Ronnie in a final.
I wouldn't switch off. You've got to be so focused. You've got to be alert and keep an eye on what Ronnie's doing, because you never know. A bad contact can come at any time, a mistake can happen at any time, and when it does, you've got to be ready. For instance, Ronnie had a great chance in that first frame, suffered a terrible kick on a red, and he would have been beautifully on the blue, and who knows, Ronnie could have made a big break. And that kick caused his downfall. He missed the blue with the rest, and all of a sudden, within 2 shots, Jordan is back at the table.
It's Ronnie who's at the table. Quick break, back in, and we'll see how he responds. Brown, though, with a frame on the board.
So Ronnie breaking off. It's not the best break-off shot he's ever played. He's left Jordan Brown a real tempter to this left corner. But let's see how he plays it. Will he just try and stun this for the black? He did. He's lost the cue ball. He's not got the pot, but I think he'll settle for that. That could have been a lot worse there. Just didn't quite get into the cue ball enough there, and obviously caught the red thin. But he'll settle for the finish.
A long red to go at here, Ronnie. It's very difficult. He's playing a safety shot instead. He's refusing the one just to the right of that. That last frame would have annoyed Ronnie. He had a couple of chances and didn't make the most of them. Excellent safety from Jordan Brown. He has played some really telling shots. Okay, he missed a few in the first frame, but he played some good safety shots, and of course that long pot that set him up for the break in the end certainly helped. At the moment, he's sort of
John Brown 4.
dominating the safety part of the game, and it's one part that we spoke about how good Ronnie is at it, but at the moment he's just not seeing the edge of the balls. He's potted the white already 3 times in this final.
Yes, Kenny's played a few tight shots, hasn't he? Made them thick like that. It's just because he's a little bit tight and not completely relaxed.
1.
He tried then to do a deep screw back there. Just caught the red just off straight and didn't really get through the cue ball. Just concerning times so far for Ronnie O'Sullivan. At the start of this match, it's not what he would have expected. I'm sure, to have come out and played a lot better than what he's done, but Jordan Brown, after winning that last frame, can't help but feel, with a couple of safeties we've seen, he's starting to really settle. He's starting to look confident. Ronnie is in all kinds of trouble once again.
One thing I would say about Ronnie is every opponent he gives total respect to, and indeed respects the table. He won't push the boat out, he won't take liberties. Excellent pot from Jordan Brown. And once again, not an easy shot that, but didn't even touch the sides, and these are the type of shots that will certainly build his confidence. Wonderful pot. Now we can pot the yellow and try and get down towards these reds. Maybe that red beside the blue would be nice to get on. Just need a right centre pocket. Yeah, pretty good. If you could somehow...
3.
You could play red on this right hand side table, but the red to the right of the blue, we would have loved to be in a little bit more further down with the cue ball towards the pink. But if you could somehow pot this red into the right centre and try and get the onto the black here, it's a delicate little shot. This is the more positive shot, this red. It'll be nicely on the black if it goes in. Oh, wow. Well, it came
John
right
Brown,
across
3.
that, and that could be very costly indeed. Just have a look at how much he missed the red there, boy. It came right across the cue ball. Didn't cue that straight at all. That could prove very costly indeed. This is the position that Ronnie loves to be in. Black available into both corner pockets, plenty of reds in the open. And this is where the genius will probably go to work.
8. 9.
That was an extremely well controlled
16.
shot. That could have gone wrong. Could have slid past that red.
17.
Now he's in prime position, as Ken said. Now, I think it's a fantastic word, genius, because he has been a genius over the years on the snooker table. I think more to the point is his longevity of how long he's been at the top of the game and competing to still win events.
24.
He's no spring chicken anymore. Just shows you what a will to win that he's got.
25.
Yeah, well, his first major back in 1993, I think it was, the UK Championship. He was just 17 years of age. Ooh, well, Here we are
Ronnie
eulogising.
O'Sullivan, 25.
Well, that was a little bit of a nervy one from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Now, Jordan, what the chance? I mean, wasn't expected to get back to the table so soon, but that was very unlike Ronnie O'Sullivan. Well, these are the chances that you have to really take when your opponent gives them to you. It would have been a little shock to the system for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Eight. Nine.
Well, that was a beautiful shot, and he couldn't have got a better split either. Have a look at this, nicely
16.
controlled. A bit of left hand side and just stunning into the pack of reds and holding the cue ball
17.
nicely. Now look at the position of these reds. What a wonderful chance for Jordan Brown.
$24. $25.
Didn't have a great angle on the blue there, so just had to
30.
pot the blue and leave this straight red into the left corner pocket.
$31.
Plenty of room for the cue ball. Just to
38.
run these reds into this left corner pocket, and he's holding himself together very well. Maybe certainly feeling a little bit of pressure,
39.
but doesn't look that way at the moment. He's holding himself together extremely well. Yeah, just take your time. You don't feel right on the shot, get back up, compose yourself. And this is the start that he would have dreamed of.
46. $47.
Yes, real confident strikes of the cue ball now. I think it's fair to say that Jordan Brown has settled right down. All the butterflies have gone. And obviously he has been helped a little bit in the fact that Ronnie's missed
52.
a couple of balls that we haven't seen him miss all week. And like I said, it's a
53.
different kind of pressure for Ronnie in this final. So wrong side of this blue. Jordan Brown, so it's in and out of bulk. Just got to make sure of the blue. That just puts this frame really beyond doubt. Only needs 2 4-point snookers
58.
and a clearance. If this red goes in, I'm sure even if Jordan Brown was to miss, Ronnie will stay in his chair. Well,
Jordan
he'll
Brown,
be coming out of
58.
his chair now. That was an unexpected miss there by Jordan.
Well, that's one thing. One way of getting a snooker, particularly when your opponent needs one. How about that for a little double kiss? Good chance for Jordan Brown here to maybe try and knock the black into a safe position. Well, he's knocked the black up into the middle of the table, but excellent shot again from Jordan Brown, and Ronnie O'Sullivan concedes. He's had enough, and a shot missed to the middle pocket on the pink for Ronnie O'Sullivan, cost him the frame, but Jordan Brown now leads by 2 frames to 0.
An unpredictable week and an unpredictable final so far. The thing is, yesterday, Jordan Brown produced some wonderful quality to beat Stephen Maguire. What do we have, a 1-3-5 break in his first frame? He hasn't had to be that good, has he, so far in this final, to lead Ronnie 2-0?
That's absolutely right, yeah. He hasn't settled, really, Jordan Brown. It's a final, it's a huge occasion for him, and of course he's playing the game's greatest ever player in Ronnie O'Sullivan. But it's a little bit full of variety, isn't it, this match? Ronnie hasn't settled, and I don't know what it is, some of the top players have been struggling against Jordan Brown. This is, I mean, Ronnie's in here amongst the balls. This is the sort of opportunity he loves. But that was a very unexpected miss on the pink, and it proved very, very costly in the end.
Yeah, and another one here we're going to see.
Yeah, well, Jordan's on a break here, and that was the pack opener, and it's worked to perfection. Those reds have fanned out beautifully, and he's got a nice straight red to continue the break with, and he won the frame from there. And Ronnie O'Sullivan's the one now that needs to do something. You don't settle down until you win your first frame, and Ronnie hasn't done that yet. It's
interesting, we asked Ronnie yesterday, did you see that final? Did you see the semi-final between Maguire and Brown? I think he said he hadn't seen it. So is that a mistake, in a sense? If you don't know a lot about a player and you've not played them before, would he have been better advised to have watched a bit of Brown so he knows what he's coming up against?
Possibly, but the chances are, I mean, Jordan's been around a little while. He's only made 22 career centuries. Ronnie will have looked at a few of the stats. He may, I mean, you've always got the opportunity to go on video platforms and watch somebody in action, see what style of player they are. But I'll be very surprised if Ronnie doesn't know enough about Jordan Brown coming into this final.
Yeah. I guess there's not a great deal of footage around of Jordan. I mean, we've been stoking up the kind of David against Goliath nature of this match, and just to throw another log onto the fire, he's the lowest ranked player to reach a final since Andrew Higginson, an English player, did it in 2007. He was unranked. And the thing is, no one would have batted an eyelid had Brown gone out in round 1.
No, I think that's a very good point, isn't it? The good thing from Ronnie's point of view is it's not a best of 9, it's not a best of 11, it's a best of 17. There's still plenty of mileage left in this match yet. You know, there's only 2 frames being played out of an 8, possible 8 this afternoon. So, but Ronnie needs to get started very quickly here. He hasn't won a frame yet, and therefore he hasn't settled down.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with Dominic there. Yes, I remember that final with Andrew Higginson. I think he was 8-5 up and landed up losing 9-8. That was a throw-in final. Are we going to see the same today?
1.
It's a good long pot by Ronnie. The cue ball's just travelling towards that bulk line. It's just travelled about 2 inches too far. Little wry smile there. He pulls some interesting faces, Ken, doesn't he, through the match these days?
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
Yeah. think we've all done that over the years, Darren, in all fairness. And he was a bit unlucky there. It was a good opening red. It just, cue ball just travelled and travelled. Unable to take the brown into the corner pocket. Quite interesting little shot there. I like that shot from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Didn't roll up behind the green because the target of the 14 reds was quite substantial. So what he did is force his opponent to try and open some reds up off the safety shot. He's played a decent shot. Not close to the ball cushion. But once again, Ronnie's safety not very good at all at the moment. Of the two players, he looks the edgier. We didn't expect to be saying that this afternoon. The blues going close. Top of the table from Jordan Brown was a better return of safety for Ronnie, close to the ball cushion. Would have preferred to have the brown as the blocking ball just for the reds down the right hand side of the table. Once again, another good return of safety. His safety has been very, very good so far, Jordan Brown.
He's already played a couple of these and gone in off or jawed the cue ball in the pocket, but this time no problems. We will have a scenario in a minute that all the reds to the right of that pink will be gone, so they'll have to come up with a different strategy of their safeties. And just get to the edge of this one. Just got to make sure he doesn't catch it too thin. And he's played it very well. Now confident Ronnie O'Sullivan will be going for this red to the left corner. He's got enough of a gap between the black spot and the red just above. All about the cue in this one. That's as good as it gets.
Well, if any ball is going to give you a bit of confidence, this is certainly it. I mean, this was treacherous to take it on. Going into other reds, if he misses it, just look at where the cue ball is. I mean, he could have been facing in the barrel of another frame to Jordan Brown, but that was a wonderful red and a very nicely controlled blue as well. Couldn't have placed it better with his hand, the cue ball there. Excellent. Not easy sometimes when your object ball is so close and so near the jaws of the pocket. It's very hard to control, but controlled it beautifully. Now, a confident Ronnie O'Sullivan would clear the table from here. Would certainly win the frame. But as we saw in the previous frame, a miss pink to the left centre would have been
14.
a bit of a shock to his system and would have rattled him.
15.
He'll be putting a wee bit of concentration into this break now, Ronnie O'Sullivan, for sure. Won't be taking any pot for granted. Knows the importance
22.
of this break, getting his first frame on the board and trying to establish himself into the early stages
23.
of this Welsh Open final.
sure he did want to play this red
30.
so early in the break, but he's a little bit straight on the black there, so
31.
he's had to force a little bit of angle to get over for that red. There's one good positional shot now, either up through the gap or little cannon. He's gone through the gap. That's very well played.
38.
Yeah, nice shot, wasn't it? Just to push the cue ball through there. He's perfect on this red into the corner pocket.
39. $46.
A little bit further for the red, just above the black, but he still has this alternative here.
47.
Already on a 48-point lead. Just a quick glance at the scores. Once again, a little bit straight on this black. May have to play a red into a right centre pocket. Oh, well, he's okay. But the opening red of this break, Darren, I mean, have a look at the cue ball and look where all
54.
the reds are. This is such a good long pot.
Yes, I thought he was going to play for the gap, but he's played it at that pace. He was never going to miss the cannon on the red, so that red had to go in. But he played a great shot then, the very next one, with the, like you said, with the control shot on the blue. But that was a terrific pot, and obviously
55.
it settled him down.
Mm. And of course, it's the speed with which he can get up and running. Break time just over 4.5 minutes. And already up to 60-point lead.
59.
Oh, wow. Wow, well, where's this red going? Hold on, hold on. The red is going close. Oh,
60.
wow. Well, what a fluke from Ronnie O'Sullivan. But not the fluke, I mean the red, how he missed. Boy, such a long way. I mean, what the result he's had. Trying to force this red in, back up for a ball colour, but have a look at this. That's going to win him the frame for sure, you would feel. 67 in the lead,
66.
67 remaining. One more red required. But no matter
67.
how much talent you have, Darren, or how good you are, sometimes you do need lady luck to shine on you, and it certainly did for Ronnie O'Sullivan there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you could see a little grimace on Jordan's face, you know, in his seat, but
74.
you know, it's just the way it goes sometimes. You know, Ronnie's missed a couple in the first two frames, which it might have been a different story. You know, Jordan's 2-0 up, so I agree with you. He's just, well, he's missed the red of the rest. Very confident
Ronnie O'Sullivan
with the rest.
74
Under
on the
normal
frame.
circumstances, Jordan Brown, I think, is left him to stay in his chair, which he's done. So Ronnie O'Sullivan will be slightly relieved that he's managed to get on the scoreboard. He still trails Jordan Brown by 2 frames to 1.
Well, we certainly have a contest, don't we, in the 2021 Welsh Open final. Welcome if you are just switching the TV on. He got lucky there, didn't he, Ronnie?
Oh.
We're going to have a look at some key shots. We'll have a look at that fluke in a moment. First, though.
Well, Ronnie gets in here with a terrific long red. Look at this. Now, if Ronnie knew he was going to be cannoning other balls there, he probably wouldn't have taken this on. Although saying that, he wouldn't have had an easy safety shot to play. But that's a fantastic long red from Ronnie. But this positional shot here from the blue to the reds was no easy matter either. Pots it very thin with a trace of right-hand side, avoids the pink, and just when you think Ronnie O'Sullivan has finally settled down, he misses this red.
He's
Quite a
human.
way, yeah.
He's human.
Well, he's certainly human. He probably would have won the frame anyway,
60.
but the red just enabled him to pot the pink and virtually make the frame safe, and Jordan didn't return to the table. But Ronnie will have settled down a little bit now, but he's still 2-1 behind. I don't know what it is. These top guys are struggling a little bit against Jordan Brown. Mark Selby struggled against him. What's his name?
Stephen Maguire.
Thank you very much.
You played him at the start of the week.
I know. Well, I always try to forget whoever I lose to. Stephen Maguire in the semi-final. And, of course, Ronnie here, but, you know, this isn't Jordan Brown's problem. You know, fine, that's good for him. You know, he's winning all his matches. Just let them struggle. But Ronnie has finally got a foothold in this match, and there's one frame now before the interval, and Ronnie could do with winning it.
Your face just froze there. That was a picture.
I was expecting it to come to me, and it didn't.
It just didn't come. We all get those moments. Yeah, I mean, Ronnie's back in, been out for a bit of a break, but yeah, Jordan Brown will still be feeling pretty good about himself. He wouldn't have thought that he'd go 2-0 up, really, would he, in his wildest dreams? Or would he?
Probably not, but, you know, if it's going to be a first-ever ranking event final, you don't want to be thinking of all kinds of things. You've got to be prepared for nothing and everything, because you don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, he was prepared to be 2-0 up. I'm sure he was. It can happen. And it did happen. And, you know, Ronnie's put him under a little bit of pressure now. Jordan is still making a few mistakes, but Ronnie hasn't been punishing him just yet.
Probably the best thing to do is to just try to put your emotions in neutral, isn't it, when you're in this kind of position?
Well, you have. You can overthink things. You can prepare too well for a match, and when you go out there, you feel very flat. That's the other problem.
Yeah, OK. So, reminder, it's the best of 17, first to 9 in the final, so one more frame before the mid-session interval.
Yes, last frame before the mid-session interval, and how Ronnie O'Sullivan would love to be back on parity. Big slice of luck in that previous frame, and I'd be delighted at the fluke, but certainly won't be delighted at the strike that he put on the cue ball, and particularly how his back arm came out. That will annoy him. Oh, well, there you go.
One.
Nice little plant for Jordan Brown. Wasn't too confident of getting it, obviously, but did have a little look at it. But
Brown ball.
Position of the cue ball suggested that it wasn't dead set on. That's a nice
Jordan
little
Brown.
shot. Not
One.
easy to play those shots. Okay, big target for Ronnie O'Sullivan. He can come off 2 cushions and try and nestle on a red. It's a bit short of pace, this one.
Foul and a miss. John Brown 4.
I'm not quite sure what he... Okay, he's trying to get nestle on the red behind the black, but
Yep.
he could go off 2 cushions and try and nestle into the back of the pack as well. I know there is a little loose red available, and maybe he's a little bit tentative of leaving that one on, but I don't think he would if he got the pace right there and into the back of the pack. What would you play here?
Gary?
Well, I think the shot really,
John?
to be fair, it probably is into the back of the pack, but he's trying to rest on that red. But that last shot, how far he was pulling the cue back, I mean, this time it's a lot shorter. But he looked like he was going to blast the cue ball, and then he just took all the pace out of it, and obviously he was short. But
Foul and a miss. John Brown 4. John, thank you.
so take 3. Wow.
Foul and a miss.
I would suggest that
John Brown
this
7.
is very tight to get to that red off that side cushion.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure whether the angle is there. As I said, like, he plays off 2 cushions and nestles into the reds at the back of the pack. It might be a lot better for him. I was going to go a different way, but
Gary? John, thank you.
There you can see it's his 4th attempt. He's having a little... I can't understand why he's not doing the shot that you suggested, Ken, unless he feels that he'd be leaving that red to the left of the cluster, but it certainly is much harder. Very strange
Foul and a
indeed.
miss. John Brown 4.
I don't think Jordan Brown will be putting the cue ball back this time. I think he'll definitely take this red on because he's got a nice little angle on the red and he can pot it and stay on the black. Definitely worth taking this on. He could play it with topspin. He doesn't have to. If he stuns it in, it makes the pot a little bit harder. So he plays it with topspin. Just give the red a chance to drop into the corner pocket. Beautiful shot.
One.
Nicely on the black. Wonderful pot this.
Now, is he okay? He had anxious looks, but I think he's just about okay.
8.
And if not, he can just use a little bit of side to turn over the cue ball. I think that's what he's done. And
9.
he's just found his way into the pocket. There still isn't a great opportunity just yet. He's probably one, maybe 2 shots away. Now, if this one goes right, he could be in real business. And he's played that very, very well. And now it becomes a great opportunity.
16.
Had to make sure of the pot, but he also had to make sure he missed that red that he's now on. Very well controlled.
17.
Well, he's having a look at maybe going into the pack again. Doesn't have to. I mean, he's got at least 4 reds available, 2 on either side of the bunch. Well, he's decided to go back into the pack, and once again played a lovely shot.
24.
Had to go right through the gap of the 2 reds there, and he played it beautifully. Just having a look to see can he get on the pink when putting this red into the bottom left corner. Pink is available, as you can see. And he's played it nice once again. Delicate touch.
25.
Pink won't go on its spot. I think the brown spot is available, which will help because it won't block the path of the red that's on the pink spot. So an excellent opportunity here for Jordan Brown now. He's worked this break very nicely indeed.
31.
Played a couple of delightful little cannons, developing reds. He's looked very composed.
32.
I must say, this afternoon got off to a good start, and when the questions have been asked of him, he's held himself together. Still got a bit to do before he gets to the winning line. Oh, that's just run out. Well, he stopped in his tracks. The player
39.
will always look at your opponent's body language to see would you be on. And there you see it. He's just stopped in his tracks as he had a look at the cue ball there. And it's such a margin for error because he didn't have to play for that red. 59 points in the lead. Let's have a look at this red again as the cue ball just keeps travelling. Travel just probably an inch too far. So reprieve for Ronnie O'Sullivan. He will be coming back to the table. Okay. He's going to be 59 points in arrears.
Jordan Brown, 39.
At least he has a chance to get back into the frame. These 2 reds are plant here now. I thought it may have been 2 reds just below the pink spot. May have been a plant, but Ronnie's played an excellent safety there. Really, really good. He had a little tap on the ground from Jordan's cue and appreciation.
Yes, he's in a lot of trouble here, isn't he? If he doesn't fancy the safety shot, he might be forced in going to this red for the left corner, but it all comes down to what he's going to be most comfortable playing. I mean, if he plays this red and it goes in, it's end of frame. If he misses it, he's going to give Ronnie O'Sullivan a chance to get right back into it. Everyone just thinks differently. And he's played that in such a way as well that he's kept his options open if he'd missed it. Looking at it there, that was the only red he could possibly leave on. But he has given control of the table to Ronnie to play a real good telling safety shot. He's had another kick.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think I've seen any kicks at all this week, but we've seen 2 from Ronnie now in these opening frames.
Yeah, it's quite unusual. I thought kicks were a thing of the past because of the introduction of the new chalk by a company in Finland called Tame, and I'm not quite sure whether Ronnie uses that chalk though. I don't think he does. This cue ball looks good. If it misses the brown, I was going to say, if it missed the brown, it looked like it was going to hide behind the yellow pocket, but that little kiss on the brown now has just left this long red. He putted a wonderful long red in the last frame. He's going to need another one here. Big shot this. It's close, very close indeed. Oh, has he got away with it? He's not on this red, I don't think, into this left corner pocket. The red has just come up and blocked the path. He does have a red into the left centre. Good shot.
1.
And that could be a frame winner. He's nicely on the green. You see it, 63 points in the lead. Still 91 on the table. Of course, Ronnie gave 20 points away in fouls at the beginning of this frame.
Five.
I must say, Darren, I'm very impressed with how Jordan Brown has coped with the pressure
12.
and, of course, coped with the fact that he's in his first major ranking final as well.
Absolutely. As I
13.
said, talking to him before the match started, how relaxed he was. And okay, there was a couple of edgy moments in the first frame from both players, but the minute he got that frame on the board, he's looked totally relaxed throughout this opening session of this final. It has to be said, it has been slightly
18.
out with Ronnie O'Sullivan not being at his very best, but Ronnie's been put under a lot of pressure by Jordan. Someone that maybe he was expecting not to come out and play as well as this to start off and look totally settled. It's bound to be off settling. So far this is a great account of his first ever ranking final. He'll be going to this first interval
24.
really pleased with his mini effort. There's only one scoring better than 3-1, and that's 4-0. So someone had said to him at the start of the match, you'll be 3-1 up at the opening interval, or take your chances, he'd have snapped their hands off.
$30.
Yeah, just like the way he's gone about his business this afternoon so far. Striking the ball with lots of conviction and authority. He's been pretty confident in his decision making. I'm not afraid to take on the big shot.
38.
Okay, a few misses in the opening exchanges, and that's understandable, but
39.
by and large he's been very impressive. This is really good stuff. And if Ronnie didn't think he was going to be involved in a match, he certainly knows he is now. And lots to ponder
46.
for the world champion. Hasn't really settled in this match just yet.
47.
So black to continue to break in and out of balk, just to try and miss the yellow on the way back. Watch the cue ball in between yellow, brown and pink. Oh, just got the kiss on the brown. It's unfortunate.
54.
Can he cut the red in? He certainly can. He certainly
55.
can. Wonderful shot. Positional shot taking the brown off the side cushion, so
58.
everything going nicely in for Jordan Brown here.
$60.
And this will give him great confidence, won't it, Darren? I mean, making a break like this, going into the interval 3-1 up, it'll be feeling $1 million.
63.
Absolutely. I mean, this is real fluent stuff from Jordan Brown. Like you already said, Ronnie O'Sullivan now in this mid-session interval has got a lot to think about.
67.
A couple of chats I've had with Jordan Brown this week. He's been really confident, positive in
72.
what he's been saying, which is a good thing to see, and is shown in his game. All of a sudden, the pockets look like buckets to
78.
him. Straight down, play the black. Black doesn't go in.
Jordan
But
Brown,
nice runs
78.
of 39 and 78 for Jordan Brown in this fourth
38.
frame. He's going to go in the mid-session interval. So happy. Ronnie O'Sullivan's going to wonder what has happened to him, but Jordan Brown leads 3 frames to 1.
The second session, back to Ken Doherty and Darren Morgan in the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Rob. Very good comments there by Dominic Dale. And I would have to say I agree with his analogy of how things have shaped up in them first 4 frames. I'd also agree that this man you're looking at here is one of the very few that can run off 3 or 4 frames in super quick time. The interval does change things. It's amazing what that 15-20 minutes does, but for whatever reason it does change the way matches seem to pan out. Jordan Brown, he'd love now just to take, if he could take 2 of these 4, so as he's got a lead going into tonight's session, he'll be over the moon. 3-1 down, 4 each. It's not a total disaster, but he'd love to go into the night session with a lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Important second session now, this match. 17 frame final, first to 9. Get the hands on that wonderful Ray Reardon trophy. Ronnie O'Sullivan has won a ranking tournament 37 times in his illustrious career. First one coming back at the age of just 17. Beat Stephen Hendry in the UK final. Wealth of experience. He won't be panicking just yet. Very early days in this final. But he will be annoyed with how he's played in those first 4 frames. Always loves to start off very fast, Ronnie O'Sullivan, particularly in finals, just to assert himself on his opponent. There you see his pot success, 88%. Jordan Brown, 89%. It's pretty low. You want to be up in the mid-90s with your pot success. Total points more than double for Jordan Brown. And there's a stack you wouldn't have believed during this final. Jordan Brown playing a couple of seconds quicker than Ronnie O'Sullivan. And I think that's why Ronnie O'Sullivan's up to 22 seconds per shot time, because Jordan Brown's safety has been pretty good. He's been made to think about a lot of the problems that he's been in. He's got a good all-round game, Jordan Brown. Of course, he's a practice partner with Mark Allen. And when you're playing a player of that ilk every day, it's definitely going to sharpen the mind. It's going to give you confidence as well, watching the top players play, and you're learning all the time, and he's certainly been learning over these last couple of seasons. Jordan Brown, he's done very, very well indeed. Quarterfinals was of the German Masters is the best that he's done in a ranking event until this year's Welsh Open. He's even got his own nickname now, the Antrim Ferrari. Maybe something to do with the red hair there, and I don't know.
Sounds good, doesn't it? It amazes me where they get these nicknames from. Some are great, some not so great. But I think, you know, it's only fair to point out as well, I mean, for Ronnie O'Sullivan fans, I mean, obviously every year he books his place in the Champion of Champions. To do that, you've got to win an event. And so far, in this season's campaign, he's lost in 2 finals. Lost in the Northern Ireland final to Judd Trump 9-7. He's also lost in the Scottish Open final to Mark Selby 9-3. So this is his 3rd final since winning that World Championship last August. So he'll want to sort of get his win under his belt, so is he guaranteed that spot in the Champion of Champions. So it comes with its own pressures. It's not bad going, Mike Ken. This is his 3rd final out of all 4 of the nations events. The only one he missed out in was the English Open.
Yeah, he's been pretty consistent, hasn't he? He's got Jordan in a little spot of butter here. Oh, he's trying to get the left-hand side of that red, but once again, he'd be happy with the outcome there. Not what he was exactly playing. Nice pace on the cue ball there from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Once again, another wonderful return of safety, and have a look at where the cue ball is finished. Probably even just as good as a snooker. That so difficult cueing over the green. May have to just come off the side cushion and just nestle onto these two reds, just close to this bottom left-hand corner pocket. Just hit the red on the way down. He didn't want that. Wanted to hit the top cushion first, and once again, it's left possibility here for Jordan Brown. Yeah, pretty good.
One.
Keeping Ronnie on the back foot. And yesterday, against Stephen Maguire, his safeties were a little bit short. There's quite a few that landed short of the bulk line, but he potted very well yesterday and scored very well. But today he's getting the perfect length on his safeties, which keeps forcing errors off Ronnie O'Sullivan.
6.
And he's right back in here. Maybe pot in the black
7.
now. Black will be back on his spot. It goes into both corners. And some of the reds are a little bit congested just above the black spot, but there's enough out in the open for him to concentrate on before he got to start looking at moving things. It's very measured, Ken.
Yeah.
14.
As I said, I'm very impressed with how he's played so far.
$15.
Once he got that first frame on the board, I think he's really settled into this final. Could just drop the black in and play for the red just below the black. No. Ooh, well, a little bit more pace and that black wouldn't have dropped in. Just have a look at this. Wow, once he hit it, so it's dropping to the
22.
near jaw. That's not going in, but the pace only and gravity helped it into the pocket. His heart would have skipped a beat on that one for sure.
23.
And now a wonderful angle on the black. He can play a little cannon on the red just above the black. And he'll still be on a red into this left corner pocket. Yeah, lovely shot. Okay, slightly hampered, but it's not too bad. Watch the little cannon, just brushing the red out of the way and
30.
leaving the other red into this left corner pocket. I'm going to bridge over two reds here. So just as well, he's quite tall, Jordan Brown, well over 6 foot. Nicely played.
31.
Just enough right hand side just to widen the angle
38.
as soon as it came off the left hand side cushion.
$39.
Bit short of pace for the blue, but nicely on the pink. The situation at the table at the moment, Darren, I mean, there's every possibility He could stretch his lead even further. All he has to do is try and hold himself together here.
Like you said, you know, unless he misses something a little bit silly, you'd say that's very
45.
much of a possibility. I mean, he's been totally calm and collected since that first frame. Really impressed. I've always known Jordan Brown was
46.
a great player. And obviously he's always known he's a great player, but he's showing everybody now that he can stand up out there against the best players in the world and do it on the big stage. This is brilliant stuff.
53.
Okay, Ronnie's missed a couple of balls and played a couple of safeties, not to his normal standard, but that's due to the pressure that Jordan Brown is putting on him.
54.
Every time he's given a chance now, he's scoring. You know, they're not massive breaks, but, you know, he's had runs of 39, 58, 78, and 54 and counting. You know, 50, 60. It doesn't win you the frame, but it puts you in a commanding lead. Whereas Ronnie have struggled to get his scoring boots going. I honestly believed he'd come out after the interval, and I thought Ronnie's he'll start firing, but it hasn't happened, and fair
61.
dues. I thought Jordan might come out and be a little bit tight after the interval, but he still looks really relaxed and focused.
$62.
This is really good.
It certainly is. It just needs the pink and one more red. He can put the pink in this right centre pocket, bring the cue ball over past this red on the right, and play the red into the left centre. He can try and hold the cue ball red into the right centre also. Lovely touch.
68.
And Ronnie can only just sit in his chair and wait for his chance. It was a slightly careless little shot that he played. Okay, he was bridging over the green. He's trying to nestle on a couple of reds on this top cushion, but misjudged it and left his opponent in with an easy opportunity. Been sat down in this chair ever since.
69.
Yeah, that's the red that puts Ronnie needing snookers. The pink will probably, well, maybe Ronnie might still come back, so you might need one more red just to stop Ronnie coming back to the table. The pink will put him 75 ahead with 67 remaining, so 2 4-point snookers. That's certainly enough to bring anyone back to the table.
75.
One more red to keep Ronnie in his chair and keep the break going.
$76.
And again, digs in a terrific red to that right corner. I'd have to say that Jordan Brown is feeling really confident and starting to enjoy himself. And why not?
83.
He's on the biggest stage of his career.
84.
And at the moment he's grasping it with both hands.
Yeah, this is a wonderful break, I must say. This is going to give him so much confidence, particularly if he can make a century here as well.
90. 91.
Picking up his pace now.
98.
We've had 70 centuries in
99.
this year's Welsh Open. And Jordan Brown has had 3 so far. Make that century number 4. Well played, Jordan Brown. What a wonderful break.
106.
Possible 1-4-1 on if you can put this red and black and all the remaining colours.
107.
Excellent stuff from the man from Antrim. His break of the tournament is 143, so he can't beat that. But oh, he's missed the black, and that's a little bit disappointing from Jordan Brown. But he'd be more than happy to win the frame with a wonderful century. He extends his lead now over the world champion. He leads by 4 frames to 1.
Can you imagine the adrenaline pumping through his body at the moment? Fantastic stuff, isn't it? Rarely has Ronnie spent so much time sat in his chair in a Welsh Open final. He's won it 4 times. The way this is going, he's not going to win a 5th, is he?
Well, not unless he wins frames very quickly now. There are 3 remaining frames in this afternoon session, and Ronnie needs to win at least 2 of them, otherwise he'll be 5-3 down or worse. So it's a bit of damage limitation from Ronnie's point of view, but it's been a struggle for him this afternoon, and Jordan Brown now is really settled and looking very, very dangerous.
And we could pick up a couple of shots here. Maybe a little bit lucky with one of these, but this first?
This first red was an excellent pot from Jordan Brown, but 3-1 up, I probably fancied him to get it. But he controlled the cue ball beautifully there for position. But later on in the break, have a look at this black. Now,
you said that's a black that he missed that went in.
Yeah, well, Jordan probably thinks he's missed that, because normally, whenever those balls catch the near draw, as heavily as that one did, they don't normally go in. But it's a brand new cloth. It was only put on, I think, yesterday for yesterday's semi-finals, and the balls are still skidding in off the cushion jaws. Probably in a week's time, if you carried on playing on that cloth, that would never go in.
You said earlier on, you know, the 1 or 2 moments where maybe the nerves got to him, and you know, when he was missing, it wasn't about technique, it was about what's in the head.
Yeah.
But is he getting over that now? Is he settling where you know, it's not getting to him mentally?
I think so, definitely, Ian. The scoreboard is the thing that's going to settle him down. He's 4-1 ahead, so there's no pressure on him at the moment. Ronnie's not putting him under any pressure at all, and if Ronnie doesn't win 2 of these next frames, he's going to be in serious trouble going into this evening's final sessions.
Difficult to read Ronnie, isn't it? Sometimes you see him sat there, looks pretty relaxed. Is that a front, or will he be worried?
Oh, well, he's
stressed.
Yeah,
does he care?
Oh, he cares, believe me. He looks rather sort of lugubrious there, sat in his chair. He's got a lot of thinking to do. This is a massive frame. Can you imagine if Ronnie O'Sullivan loses his frame, he's 5-1 behind, and all of a sudden Jordan Brown will be thinking maybe about winning this title tonight. But that's a dangerous thing to be doing.
When you start to think about that, then, I mean, what bigger margin do you have to have where you can actually start to think about that finish line?
Oh, well, it depends who you're playing. When you're playing Ronnie O'Sullivan, you need a very big lead. Coming into the evening session, Jordan, that's a different thing entirely. Again, it's new territory for Jordan Brown. And, you know, just let's see how he copes with the remaining 3 frames of this afternoon session here.
4-1. What a scoreline at Celtic Manor.
Yes, particularly if you're a Jordan Brown fan. Certainly, this is beyond expectation, but richly deserved at the same time. He's played wonderfully well. Possible plant here, safety shot as well, of course. It's not dead set, but may go close to it. Ooh, this one just stayed out. How's the cue ball? Needs to get behind the brown, and it hasn't done so. So a slight error of judgment from Jordan Brown there. Now Ronnie O'Sullivan. What's your response going to be? Right back.
1.
Firmly against the wall. There'll be no panic buttons pressed for sure. First to 9, of course, will be the victor, so plenty of time. But he's got to start scoring and putting some sort of pressure on his opponent. He hasn't done that this afternoon. Even the frame he did win with the break of 74, that was courtesy of a fluke into the left centre. So he hasn't been scoring. I mean, he played impeccably against Mark Williams last night. As we so often see, every day is different in every sport. But it's time to start going to work now for Ronnie O'Sullivan for sure. Good opportunity.
16.
This.
Yes, I think he wanted to play the other red here, not this one above the black, but his cue ball's just travelled a little bit too far, and
17.
well, there's another one that's just slipped in off the jaw. I mean, no, this was very similar to Jordan Brown's. He's found his way into the pocket, but normally Ronnie's
24.
middle of the pocket player.
25.
He always strives for perfection, but he is under the cosh at the moment. Take nothing away from that.
And once again, it was a little bit of a slack positional shot in there, Ronnie. A little bit straight on the black, as you can see. Not a great angle. Retrieved the situation
32.
very nicely indeed. This red is available into the right centre pocket.
33.
This will be 5 reds, 5 blacks when this goes in. I don't think Ronnie will be contemplating about the 147 just yet. We want to just concentrate on winning the frame
40.
this visit. Play this left-handed and still stay on the black. It's a little bit of a stretch, but he's okay. Another red into the left corner pocket. It's a
41.
beautiful shot. Well, now this really sets it up nicely. Have a look at this, just the pot, but also the glancing blow off the reds to hold for the black into the opposite corner pocket. And if he wasn't thinking about a 147 before that shot,
48.
he's certainly thinking about it now. Win the frame first,
49.
but it's certainly on. Oh, wonderful shot there, Darren, wasn't it? He sort of played on 2 reds there, but he couldn't have played that any
56.
better.
No, that was as good as it gets.
57.
All of a sudden, as Ronnie O'Sullivan does, he looks in full flow now. Looks a completely different player. Focused. It's more important, he makes sure he makes enough to win the frame before he thinks of the
64.
maximum. Well, there you are, that just shows you he could have got back for the
65.
black there. He's thinking, still in a positive frame of mind. Make sure of the frame. I think if the scoreline had been the other way, he'd have been playing back for the black there. He's feeling much better now, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
70.
He's just a couple of shots away, red in the colour. To make sure. Red puts him safe.
71.
All of a sudden, this final's come into life.
Yeah, and a good response as well
78.
from the world champion. Just what the doctor ordered. Needed a good
79.
frame with a good break, just to get his cue arm going. Get him back into some sort of rhythm, because he's been kept pretty cold. Quite interesting though, in the middle of that
86.
break, he didn't try and get back on the black. It sort of shows that
87.
more focused on winning the frame than trying to make 147. It was a good choice, I feel, particularly the situation and scoreline of the match.
92. $93.
And that's Ronnie's 4th century of this year's
100.
championship.
101.
Possible, now he's taking the pink, a possible 142, so he still can't beat the highest break of 143, but this is
107.
a sublime break.
I'm not sure. You know.
He's asking the referee,
143.
what's the highest break? Yeah, referee doesn't know, it's 143, so
108.
if he had known, he would have played
143. Thank you.
in that penultimate red. He would have played for the black to try and equal the high break, but he can't do that now. He's only possible 142. He's down on the shot and asking the
150.
referee at the same time. It's quite funny.
170.
He did it a couple of years ago at the same event with the
120.
He asked the referee how much it was for a 147, and when they said what it was, he said that's not enough and made a 146 instead.
124.
Well, we had a 107 from
129.
Jordan Brown in the 5th frame. I'm going to have a possible total clearance here of
135.
142 from Ronnie O'Sullivan in the 6th. Well, he's missed the black, but still a wonderful, sublime century from the world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan. He cuts the deficit, but it's still Jordan Brown who leads by 4 frames to 2.
Exit stage left, rather, Ronnie O'Sullivan after a century. Terrific. 135, and a reminder of how many centuries we've had. 72 now this week after that one from Ronnie. The record is 81 back in 2019. So we'll see how many more we get over the course of this final. He could have had a 147. We'll come to that in a minute. We're going to look at Miss Brown, first of all.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan's 4-1 ahead. He's got a great chance to extend that lead, but he made a mistake here. This was the problem. He attempted the plant there, and unfortunately, he got too close for his own good, unfortunately. He remained in the jaws of the pocket. And if you look at the position of the reds, they were fantastic for Ronnie. Now, this shot here that he plays to open a few reds out and get position on the black tells me at that particular time he was attempting to go for a 147 break, but just later in the break he landed rather awkwardly on a red to the left centre, felt it was too risky to screw back from near the side cushion for position on the black, so the 147 was forgone. He's had a couple of maximums at the Welsh Open, so you know, they've been fantastic to watch, especially if you're sat inside the arena, which sadly no one is this year. 143 still the highest break of the week, by the way, from Zhao Xingtong. But now we have the final. The final's sort of taken off properly now, it feels, doesn't it? Yes, hopefully that can ignite Ronnie O'Sullivan. If he can win the next frame and just be 4-3 behind, you know, it could be set up for a fantastic evening session tonight. This next frame is huge from Jordan Brown's point of view. If Ronnie can win this second frame in a row, all of a sudden he's got some momentum and he'll be thinking about levelling up at 4-all going into tonight. Yeah, we get to 8 before we break for this particular session. Then we resume tonight at 7 o'clock. Jordan Brown, we've still got that 2-frame cushion, but it'll start to feel a little more uneasy than he was a little bit earlier on. The problem is when you have a big lead over anybody, you suddenly start focusing on the other guy catching you up rather than yourself pulling away even more. It's just the psychological aspects of sport and of snooker, and Jordan will be very wary now of Ronnie O'Sullivan after having to witness that 135.
And the other thing is with Ronnie O'Sullivan, like so many other players, he's so different in the fact that he's got this ability that he can run 2 or 3 frames off in 30-40 minutes. So all of a sudden you see your big lead disappear rather quickly. Jordan Brown's just got to continue to do what he's been doing. When he gets his chance, make sure he takes it. And don't press no panic buttons.
This red could go over the corner pocket once again. Yeah. Now, what sort of an angle does Ronnie O'Sullivan have here? Can he delicately drop this red in and hope for the black? He's having a look at the angle and maybe a little bit acute, but it's one of these where you might have to play it in with a lot of bottom and left-hand side here, just to slow the cue ball down. It's one or the other. You've got to play it slow or play it really quick. Yeah, it wasn't dead set over the corner pocket, and well, that's a disappointing miss for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
One.
Yeah, it looks a lot easier on our TV screens, but he's got to try and play it with a bit of side and obviously try and miss the pack of reds, and it's just thrown the cue ball offline.
It was a lot thinner O'Ken, wasn't it, than you know what the viewers will have seen at home there, and like you said, trying to miss the pack of reds, but you know it didn't go in, and Jordan's got this opportunity. He's made the black. He's on this red to the left centre, albeit it's awkward queuing.
8.
I mean, when Jordan missed that red to the left corner, if the red bounces off the cushion another inch, it'd been an easy starter for Ronnie O'Sullivan. So Jordan a little bit fortunate there. This is not easy. But he made it look very easy indeed. What a terrific shot that was. Just lost the cue ball slightly. There's a great pot on the blue.
14.
Just need a little bit more side there to have checked the cue ball up off that bulk cushion. Just lost the cue ball sliding at that side cushion. He'd have liked it to check straight. Just passing the green on the way down, so he'd have been a lot closer to that red. So we might even see him now play a safety. So another 6 to 8 inches out into the table, he'd have been playing that red to the left corner.
Jordan Brown, 14.
Again, this is perfect weight. The safety's been very good so far in this match.
I'll have a look at that stat. 97% safety success from Jordan Brown. That will tell you how well the safety has been so far. And once again, look at that. Look at the cue ball there. I mean, obviously couldn't get behind yellow, green and brown, but the most important next thing to do is for any player, and indeed for amateur players who are watching, if you can't get it behind yellow, green and brown, get it tight to that ball cushion as possible. And look how difficult the cueing is. It's an excellent return, but it had to be cued perfectly well, and that's why we got an acknowledgement from his opponent. It was a wonderful return of safety. once again. This cue ball misses the yellow. He's got Ronnie in a spot of bother here. His safety has been top quality, Jordan Brown's. Very impressive.
Well, yes, because the only way Ronnie's been able to get in is by knocking in a long pot. I mean, all long pots, depending on the state of play in a match, are hard, but I mean, he's caught that really thin there. He did go for the pot there, and he tried to get the cue ball the other side of the black, so that was a real miss-hit shot, which you'd have to say he's been really fortunate with the outcome. Under normal circumstances, Jordan Brown would love to have a go at this red to the left corner, but he knows if he takes it on, he doesn't get it. And that's why he's playing safe. And I think that's the right shot in the context of this match. Why should he do anything silly when he's got Ronnie a little bit on the back ropes?
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about that is that he's left Ronnie a possible pot. Okay, it wasn't easy, but if it had gone in, Ronnie was in now. As it's turned out, it's worked out in favour of Jordan Brown here. But has missed the red by some distance there, and it's left Ronnie a chance.
That probably, Ken, is his first nervy one since the first frame, isn't it?
One.
Yeah, totally agree. Wasn't playing for the black there, because if you look at the red, it's on the black spot, so he really wanted to be up for blue or pink, but not judged it as well as he would have liked. You can still pot the blue. Yellow cue ball could be going between yellow and brown. Try and get on that red that's close to the black spot if possible. This looks pretty good. Excellent recovery.
6.
Now, you pot this red that's on the black spot. He also has a red into the right centre pocket, which is a little bit easier. So a choice of 2 reds. He'd really like the red off the black spot as quickly as possible, but may not take it this time. May pot this red, go up for blue, and then back down for the red again. But this looks a bit high.
7.
Well, it looked a bit high the minute you hit it, didn't it, Darren?
Well, I think it's only because, as Dominic said earlier, it's a new cloth. I think if that had been the cloth that had been on earlier in the week, it'd have stayed his true course and hit that jaw and stayed out.
12.
But obviously at this pace, he give it every chance, so whatever little bit of nap was on that cloth, it certainly helped then in pulling that cue ball in.
13.
Pulling the red, I should say, into the centre pocket. Wrong side of the black again. So it's going to be up and down. It's not a great scoring opportunity yet, as it can. A lot of work to do. It's a big shot in popping this black, but he's got to negotiate in and out of bulk, which he's done. He needs to have a good cue ball, and that's looking just about perfect.
Yeah, that was a wonderful shot, wasn't it?
20.
Not easy that into a blind pocket, which the middle pocket was, but have a look at the cue ball here. Just enough right hand side off 2 cushions, back out into the middle of the table. Oh, there's a wonderful shot,
21.
but he's been a bit unlucky. I don't think he's on the pink into the left centre. We'll soon find out, but he was hoping to be on the black, but just look at the red. It's come down and blocked the path of the black. Well, he may be on the pink. It's a little bit tight. Oh, he's okay. Wanted to be on the black into the left corner pocket, but just about on the pink. Yeah, well played. Cue that beautifully.
Just give me a second, please, Ronnie.
Yeah, now the problem is for the referee, as he asked Ronnie O'Sullivan for a second, pink won't go on its spot, so it has to go as close to its spot as possible in line with the black and the top cushion. And that's behind the little bunch of reds. It's not going to hinder Ronnie O'Sullivan on this occasion.
27. A little
Brush on the blue. Causing to be the wrong angle. He's played a good positional shot there. He's got nicely behind this red.
33.
He's got a choice. Could go into the pack of reds here. He's got the red left of the black, but I think it's a good opportunity. Yeah, and it's worked out a treat. Excellent shot, that. It's been a good break, Darren, hasn't it? I mean, he's had to work really hard. The cue ball has been up and down the table, but he's back in prime position now.
Absolutely, Ken.
40.
I mean, there's been a couple of moments within his break it could have all gone wrong, but he's managed to rescue the position every time. Now he's in absolute perfect territory. And all of a sudden, he goes on to make enough to win this frame with this
48.
visit. He's cut his deficit to just one frame in no time. And that's what we're saying, you know, at one stage it was looking brilliant for Jordan Brown, wasn't it? And all of a sudden it's match back on. Any other player, you've got chance to sort of keep yourself calm and tidy,
55.
and you know they'll win a frame, but it'll take them a while. With Ronnie, he can just reel them 2 or 3 off in no time at all.
56.
And he's done very little wrong, Jordan Brown, last 2 frames. He's played some good safeties. I think he's just got to stay positive in his seat and just not panic.
63. 64.
Yeah, that's frame ball. And now, let me just double checking the scoreboard. Let's see, can we see another century? We've seen a century in each of the last couple of frames.
71.
This final is starting to really hot up now.
72.
It's been an excellent break. I think this break will give Ronnie O'Sullivan a lot more pleasure than the 135 in the previous frame, because he's had to work a lot harder with the cue ball. Really pulled out some great positional shots
79.
and pots in this break.
80.
We can safely say the rocket has certainly taken off in this final now. One more frame to play
86.
before the interval, and they'll come back out again this evening for the
87.
remainder frames of this year's Bet Victor Welsh Open. But the snooker has been so good in these, particularly these last 3 frames.
94.
Both players won't want the session to finish, to be honest. It's been great
96.
stuff. Big last frame for both players, and particularly for that man, Jordan Brown, in his first ranking final. Love to
99.
have a lead going into the final session. Can the world champion,
103.
as we see, another century from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Can he see him level.
108.
Still one behind. Well, starting to play something like the way he played, and particularly against Mark Williams last night, which was quite incredible.
114.
This has been a wonderful break.
Absolutely, Ken. Fair dues, top draw from
121
both
frame.
players, you
Ronnie
know.
O'Sullivan.
Jordan Brown with his century and then Ronnie with his back-to-back centuries. Ronnie O'Sullivan back in this match. Still trails by 1 frame, but it's Jordan Brown that still leads 4 frames to 3.
And another update to the career centuries stats. 1,091 now after his second of this particular match. We're going to look at a really good piece of positional play from Ronnie. Before that, though, bit of nervousness from Brown.
Yes, unsurprisingly, really, Jordan had to sit out the entirety of the previous frame of that fantastic 135 from Ronnie O'Sullivan. And when you've got the balls in the open like this and the blacks in open play, there's a little bit of extra pressure put upon Jordan Brown. And early on in the break, Ronnie's had to fight for position all the way. This was a great positional shot because the closer Ronnie can take the cue ball there to the green pocket, the better his position will be on this next red. And that's more than good enough. He knocked that red in and continued the break and won the frame with another century break. And all of a sudden now, Ronnie is starting to play. And this is the sort of snooker that Jordan Brown would have feared from Ronnie O'Sullivan at the beginning of the match. But finally, better late than never from Ronnie's point of view.
From his point of view, yes. But, yeah, we didn't see that in the first couple of frames. And as we said earlier, Jordan Brown didn't really have to be at his best to take that 2-0 lead. So this is intriguing now, isn't it? Because he's going to start to get nervous, a little bit worried about the lead evaporating.
Possibly, but you've got to look at the bigger picture, I suppose. If you were Jordan Brown and you offered him 4-all with Ronnie O'Sullivan going into the evening session, I'm sure he'd have snatched your hand off. Because at 4-all, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Jordan Brown, if it is 4-all, will go into the evening session. Both of them will have every justification of thinking they can win the event. So it's going to be set up, no matter what happens, very well for us tonight.
We do know that Ronnie will go up to second in the world, win or lose. Terrific for a player who's 45, only Judd Trump in front of him. I mean, evergreen it's an understatement, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. I mean, and bearing in mind as well, Ronnie doesn't really play in every single event like some of the players, Stuart Bingham and myself. We play in pretty much everything we're allowed to play in, but Ronnie doesn't. He picks and chooses his tournaments and prepares better for them.
Jordan Brown will go up from 81 to 45, I think, or 66 if he loses. It could be huge for him if he wins, but he can't think about that at the moment because the deficit now down to 1 frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan 3, Jordan Brown 4.
Yes, so last frame now before the interval. A possible 17 frames to play. 8 frames, of course, in this session. Ronnie O'Sullivan was 1 to 14 to win this final. There would have been a lot of raised eyebrows at 4-1 to Jordan Brown. Not a scoreline they were expected, but it was richly deserved because he played so well this afternoon, Jordan Brown. Can he keep it together and try and establish a 2-frame lead going into tonight's session? Ronnie O'Sullivan on the charge. He's won 2 frames in 25 minutes. Oh, so good.
Wow.
What a shot that is for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Black wasn't on, of course, into the bottom right-hand corner pocket, but have a look at the action on the cue ball. Back up for blue. What a great red to give you a nice lift. He's starting to really fire now.
Six.
A little bit too far for the red into the left centre. He does have a red up into the yellow pocket, top left-hand corner pocket. He can stay on the blue.
Seven.
And all of a sudden, Ronnie O'Sullivan has upped his pot success. And he's starting to fire on all rockets, as they say. I think Jordan
12.
Brown, he should just be staying positive. It's not that his standard has dropped. It's Ronnie O'Sullivan's
13.
standard has risen, and risen by quite an amount. I know in a conversation I had with Jordan yesterday, and we were talking about the Mark Selby match when he was 3-1 up, and then he went 3-all, and he was 4-3 up, he went 4-all. And he said, all I kept saying to myself, would I have took this at the start of the match when I was 3-1, then 3-all and 4-3? And he said I would have. So I'm sure he'll be adopting the same attitude at this moment in time. There's nothing he could do about these last couple of frames, or this one. And if someone had said to him, I think at the start of the match, we're going into tonight's session, it's obviously if Ronnie wins this frame, you're going to be 4 each or take your chances. I think he'd have been quite happy with that result. Obviously, he'd love to be ahead. And that might just have gone a little bit awry for Ronnie. He caught the reds nice. So it looks like it's just going to be a safety. Swinging the cue ball around the angles. He might even play it just off the 2 cushions in behind the brown to the green. All depends on how he feels. If he swings it around, he can develop the black and the reds. So he's gone for the single
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
cushion
24.
in behind the green. And that's very good indeed.
Yeah, better safety from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Had to take his medicine there. Split didn't work out, but he's put Jordan Brown in a slight bit of a precarious position here. He's going to nestle into, well, the reds, maybe just to the right of the pink, but if it slides by this pack, it could be on a red, and this looks like it's gone the other side.
Gone on a miss.
That may
Ronnie
be a free
O'Sullivan
ball,
4.
funny enough.
So yes, free ball.
But is it worth taking the free ball? I think I'd put him back into the... Okay, he may take the yellow and try and put the yellow safe. 28-point lead. That's not pretty good. May felt that he wasn't going to get much more points from that position, but really wanted that yellow on the left-hand side cushion. He's pushed the red towards this right corner, but once again the cue ball is very, very good. And even if Ronnie takes this red on, he will be careering into other reds, and that makes the pot so much more difficult. Decided against it. How's the cue ball? I think he's left the red, and he's left it with an angle that I don't think Jordan Brown will be going into the bunch of reds. I think you can avoid them with maybe a little bit of left-hand side on the cue ball, just to straighten the cue ball up off this top cushion. Yeah, there's the bit of side, and how well he judged that. Wonderful shot.
cue ball's just run a couple of inches too far for the blue, so he's electing to play the green. Just got to make sure he cues sweetly through this. He's just lost this cue ball a little bit. He is on the red nearest the cue ball, and he might even be on the red just to the left of the pink spot. I think it'll be a little bit tight with the cue ball going through there. So I think it's going to be red with the rest. So he's looking at the podding angle. And being a tall lad, as Jordan Brown is, he's stretched over. So this makes it a lot easier, obviously, without having to use the rest. Straight into the middle of the pocket, and I think he's just going to be all right on this blue. And that's perfect. It's another good, confident pot there. So he hasn't been phased by the last two frames that Ronnie O'Sullivan has played. I mean, you'd have to say this is not a great scoring chance.
10.
I mean, he's got a lot of work to do with every pot. There's no value really in him potting the, even trying to get on the black and potting the black. Tying it up unless he can play the red that's nearest the black spot. But it's a big risk. You'd have to judge the cannon to perfection. But if he does play it and he can get on the black, it could open things up a lot sooner than I thought. So it's all about this shot. Well, he's missed the cannon, and that's gone terribly wrong for Jordan. Just needed to get the edge of that red. And we could, well, I was going to say we could see him play a clever little shot here, but he's playing off the side of this black. There was value there in coming off the side cushion and just nestling on that black, so he'd have had Ronnie in a full ball snooker. He's put a lot of distance between both balls.
This looks good. I don't think Ronnie was planning to get it up behind the yellow, but he'll certainly take it. That's a nice little Brucey bonus.
Well, I tell you, Ken, the way he looked at Jordan there, you know, I think maybe, you know, he played it.
Don't know, Darren. The jury's out on that one, but he has forced half an opportunity here for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Red into the green pocket. Looks pretty good. Is it there? It certainly is.
1.
Excellent shot. Now, what can he do? What sort of angle? Can he pot the pink and maybe disturb a red or two, because he's going to need it? Well, he could go into the red and black, but the angle wasn't fantastic. It needed to be straighter on that pink. Just the angle was sending the cue ball towards the black and the red, but not the right connection he wanted.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 7.
So we've had 3 centuries in a row, but this frame is completely different, but just as important. An exchange of safety shots here. Try and eke out an opportunity from your opponent. And Jordan Brown, over the course of this afternoon, has had much more success in the safety department. He's up to 93% in safety success. Ronnie O'Sullivan down to 78. And there's another excellent shot. Okay, he hasn't got the full cover, but once again, pace of the table, cue ball very close to the ball cushion. Cue ball gone very close to this yellow pocket. He's unlucky if it goes in. Yeah, good choice, good shot, good return.
Brown's out. Jordan there. Only a little bit. That's the first safety shot for a little while that he hasn't got perfect length. By the cannon on the Brown. Still made it awkward. And is he going to reap his rewards? That red's gone close to the right corner, but I think this cue ball's just travelled enough to snooker Jordan. Ronnie a little bit fortunate there. Big frame this for both players. Jordan would obviously love to win it to go into tonight's session with a 2-frame lead. And Ronnie will be looking to level up, so is this whole square going into tonight. Straight best of 9 then. So big moments in the context of this match.
This time got the reds a little bit heavy. Now decision time for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Eyeing up this red into the bottom right corner pocket. I think he's got away with it. Wasn't straightforward because he had to try and manoeuvre the cue ball to miss that red and come back up for a colour, so it wasn't easy. It was one of those where you could possibly have a go with the red, playing it with an element of safety, but the problem there for Ronnie O'Sullivan is that the red has come up by the pink. He didn't get close enough to the pot, and he's left a possible pot for Jordan Brown here, playing it once again with an element of safety, back up into the bulk area. And he's so good at that particular shot. Really sights them very, very well indeed. He puts a good percentage of that shot. Very nicely played. Trying to get on the 2 reds just beside the black spot.
Three.
Yes, he could have done with that cue ball coming another foot down towards his top cushion. I mean, he has got the red that's nearest the black spot, but it's a lot thinner than he'd have liked. But it does guarantee him better position. The other red, he'd be cannon into the other edge of the cue ball. Oh, he's missed that
John
by a
Brown,
long way.
3.
Big shot, that one. He's a long way off. Main thing is, he hasn't given Ronnie an easy starter. He's got a shot at this red, but it's far from a gimme and far from being easy. But he's made it look easy.
1.
I think we'll just see him here roll up behind the brown. He might even roll the brown up the table and the cue ball in behind the yellow. I can't see him going for the thin snick on the green. Snooker is the shot of the day.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
And that's very good. The only thing I'll say that's cue ball has just travelled about an inch too far so we can get to this side cushion. So this should be relatively easy for Jordan Brown just to drop onto these reds on this top cushion. All about the pace and making sure he gets the right contact off the cushion. Played it well.
Just like Grimace from O'Sullivan. I can't go down the right hand side of the table because the brown is sort of blocking him in that department, so he has to play a more difficult shot down this left hand side. Yeah, it wasn't easy, that. Okay, red has come up near this right centre, but he's left a possible pot for Jordan Brown here. Well, he's not going to take it on. I thought he might take on this red that's to the right of the centre pocket, because he could have left the cue ball in a position where he wouldn't be leaving it. The only red he could leave is the one he could take on, so it would have been worth the choice. But he's got, again, once again, a very, very good cue ball. Playing really good safety. Trying to keep his opponent under a bit of pressure. And once again, Ronnie has been, well,
Wow.
I was going to say
John Brown
fortunate. Unfortunate the cue ball's gone in the middle and this red has gone over this bottom right hand corner pocket. So the good choice of resisting the temptation of taking the long red, playing a good safety shot, has proved beneficial. Now can he capitalise?
One.
He set that up then very straight, didn't he? Thought he might have put the cue ball a little bit further over towards the brown spot. Obviously he didn't pop this clean either. Popped it just off the jaw.
Blue ball.
Just took all the pace out of the cue ball. This is a big blue. And no problem. What a shot that is. That's a shot of someone who's still thinking positive.
6.
100% belief in his cueing. Terrific.
7.
Well, that was brilliant, wasn't it? really was a wonderful shot on the blue. Had to really cue it. It was gun barrel straight. Still got quite a bit of work to do if he's going to win the frame from this visit. Could have been
12.
lower down with the cue ball there. Wanted to have a better angle on this red. He's still okay. Impaired if he tries to get out for black or pink here. Get the black back on the spot would be preferential. Yeah, see the
13.
angle he had. It wasn't great. He should have been lower on that red, so he had an easy, straightforward shot up for pink or black. You see the angle he has on it. That cue ball should have been closer to the top cushion, so he wouldn't have been going near that red. And the break.
Jordan Brown, 13.
Chance missed, but back in the frame. Wow. Double kiss from Ronnie O'Sullivan. He was only trying to send the red back up into the bulk area, just playing a containing safety shot. We'll have a look at what's happened and what he's left. Now, I wonder will Jordan Brown try and remove the red from the right hand side cushion here. Tried it.
1.
He's always going to be on a colour, and well, where it's landed here, I mean, this is absolutely perfect. He can drop behind the red here in the right side cushion. He can take it out, but I'd like to drop behind it. I think it's okay. And he's trying to take it out. Oh, he's played it really well. The angle on the black there was perfect for either shot. And what a chance for Jordan Brown. Have a look at this
8.
shot. Beautiful. To make the connection on the red, bring it out into open play. Now you've got to hold
9.
yourself together here, Jordan. You're nicely on the black. It's a natural angle on the black for cue ball, up for the yellow, but there's pressure on every shot now. That's why he's taking his time. Well, this would be a great steal for Jordan, wouldn't it, Darren? I mean, that last shot on the black is worthy of winning any frame.
16.
Absolutely. But he's played a couple of great shots in this little mini break. He's just got to hold himself together now.
18.
I think it's massive for Jordan Brown if he can clear up in this frame. To have that 2-frame cushion going into this evening.
21.
And he's near enough there. He's not going to miss this brown. And the blue that he potted into the yellow pocket earlier on to get right back into this frame was just top class.
30.
He'll be feeling fantastic inside. He knows
36.
tonight
On the frame.
he's got a 5-3 lead. Only 4 away from winning this Welsh title. Ronnie O'Sullivan's still got a lot to think about. He trails Jordan Brown 5 frames to 3.
Well, what a final we have here at Celtic Manor then, and that feels like a huge win, that frame, doesn't it, for Jordan Brown to take that 2-frame lead into this evening's session. He will be very happy with his afternoon's work. Overall, Dominic, won't he? You know, that's hugely different to 4-4 in terms of how you're feeling psychologically.
Absolutely, because Ronnie's got to come out tonight to win 2 frames in a row just to level this matchup. He'll be very disappointed, Ronnie O'Sullivan, with the frame that he played there. It was a poor one from his point of view, littered with errors. And in the end, Jordan Brown won the frame with shots like this. This was a shot that Ronnie really played poorly. He was trying to double the red back up the table into bulk there, and he caught it all wrong, double kissed it. And Jordan pots the red, tries to bring the other one into play and plays it absolutely fantastically well. That could have gone all wrong. He didn't quite have an angle on the black to drop him behind it, so played the cannon, and it worked out well for him, and he won the frame from there and takes a 2-frame advantage now going into this evening session in a few hours.
One of those where you were sort of saying during that, oh, he's hit that a bit thick, that's not quite right, but he sort of got away with a sort of lack of imperfection, didn't he, on certain shots?
He did, yeah. He was left a red over the right corner slightly earlier on in that frame and knocked it in and potted it too thickly, didn't get on the black, and then cued in a beautiful blue into the yellow pocket, and that probably gave him a lot of confidence as well. He'll be absolutely delighted with this afternoon's work, and every reason now to try and come out this evening in a few hours' time and contest the final few frames of this match and try and win the title now. It's a realistic prospect.
Always interesting to ponder what players are going to do between sessions. You know, do they practice? Do they relax? Do they switch off? Whatever. Will we see a different Ronnie O'Sullivan, though, this evening?
I think we're going to have to. He's going to have to start this evening's sessions very well, because he certainly didn't begin today very well. Went 2-0 behind and really struggled all afternoon, really. But we saw a bit of brilliance from Ronnie. Wasn't quite enough to reduce the deficit, and he still comes into this evening's sessions 2 frames adrift, and he's going to have to start well tonight because he's running out of frames.
Do you think he'll do it? Will he come back?
Oh, it's a tricky one. I think Ronnie may just start favourite going into tonight, but if he loses the first frame and goes 6-3 down, as I say, he'll be running out of frames. It's going to be a difficult task for him, there's no doubt about it.
It's very intriguing, isn't it, Dominic? Thank you very much indeed. So 5-3 then going into the evening session here at Celtic Manor. A maximum of 9 frames to come tonight, and we are back at 7 o'clock on BBC Two Wales. It's available on the BBC Sport website and the iPlayer as well. Newport, the centre of the snooker universe, for one more night. We'll see you later.